She just wanted to show off her new bikini to her best friend. But a distraction changed everything and made her boss see much more than he should have. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We post every day. Continuing, Anna. Louise Miller stared at her phone screen in horror. Her hands trembled, and a wave of heat washed over her face as she reread the short, blunt message she had just received. Wrong message. 2 seconds of distraction, a careless tap on her smartphone, and the photo meant for Clara. Her best friend had just been sent to Matt Allen, the new general manager of Sterling Solutions. It wasn't just any photo, it was a mirror selfie of her trying on the new red bikini she'd bought for the long holiday weekend on Nantucket Island, which she had been eagerly anticipating. Her entire body felt like it had been thrown onto a roller coaster. Anna sank into the swivel chair in her small cubicle, surrounded by financial reports and unfinished spreadsheets. The office remained bustling around her, colleagues answering calls, typing on keyboards, discussing deadlines. But she could barely breathe. How could she face Matt now? He had been her immediate boss for only 2 months, ever since he was transferred from the New York branch to lead the UK operation. Matthew Allen, 35, an MBA from Harvard, heir to one of London's most traditional upper-crust families, known for his serious and rigorous demeanor, and she, Annabelle Louise, 28, from a working-class town in the north of England, who had painstakingly earned a spot in business administration at the London School of Economics, LSE, and fought to maintain her scholarship while working 3 different internships to support herself. 2 worlds that would never have touched were it not for this digital era. Anna locked her phone screen and put it away in her drawer as if that could undo what had happened. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. It was just a mistake, she repeated mentally. Everyone makes mistakes. But this was a special kind, the kind that could tarnish her professional image, so carefully built over the last 3 years at that company. 3 years without a single slip-up. 3 years as the most efficient executive assistant in the department, always punctual, always impeccable, always discreet. 3 years avoiding any personal involvement in the workplace, still carrying the scars of the scandal from her previous job, where she had been unfairly accused of using her relationship with a supervisor to gain advantages. Anna looked at the clock. There was 1 hour left until the weekly alignment meeting, where she would be face-to-face with Matt. Could she maintain her professional composure? Look him in the eye without dissolving into apologies? What if he mentioned the incident in front of everyone? The rest of the afternoon dragged on like an eternity. When she finally arrived, at the meeting room, Anna felt a knot in her stomach upon seeing that Matt was already there, reviewing documents with his usual concentration. He briefly looked up as she entered, his gaze dark, impossible to decipher. Anna took her seat, opening her tablet and pretending to review her notes as the other team members arrived. Throughout the meeting, Anna felt the weight of Matt's gaze on her, even when he directed questions to other colleagues. There was something different there, an intensity she hadn't noticed before. At one point, while discussing the presentation for a new client, he made a comment that caught her by surprise. "We need to be careful with the attachments we send. Some reveal more than they should." The comment, seemingly directed at everyone, landed like a bombshell in Anna's chest. Her hands sweated, and she was sure everyone in the room could hear her heart pounding. But when she looked around, she realized that no one else seemed to have noticed anything out of the ordinary, except for the almost imperceptibly amused expression in Matt's eyes. Was he teasing her? The days that followed were a strange dance of avoidance and approach. Anna did everything to minimize her encounters with Matt, arriving earlier or leaving later so as not to share the elevator with him. But somehow, he always found a reason to pass by her desk, to request her assistance with some task, to extend meetings when they were alone. And then came Luke, the new intern in the finance department. Young, charismatic and carelessly handsome, freshly graduated in economics at 24. Luke made no secret of his admiration for Anna. He brought her coffee every morning, offered to help carry documents, and made sure to sit beside her in the cafeteria. "I can't believe you're single," he commented once as they had lunch. "Women like you are usually already taken." Anna smiled, flattered but cautious. "Women like me? Intelligent, determined, beautiful?" He shrugged with a sincere smile. "The whole package." It was at that exact moment that Matt appeared in the cafeteria, tray in hand. His eyes narrowed when he saw the two of them, and he made sure to choose a table close enough to overhear their conversation. Anna immediately noticed his presence, feeling a strange mixture of embarrassment and another feeling she couldn't, or didn't want to, identify. From that day on, Matt's attitude visibly changed. His criticisms of Anna's work, previously rare, became more frequent. He questioned reports he would have approved without hesitation before, requested unnecessary revisions, and scheduled follow-up meetings that seemed to have no other purpose than to occupy the time she might spend with Luke. During one of these meetings, Anna finally decided to confront him. "Is there a problem with my recent work, Mr. Allen?" Matt stared at her for a long moment before replying. "Your work is impeccable as always, Annabelle Louise. But I've noticed a certain distraction." "Distraction? The intern seems to take up quite a bit of your time." Anna felt her face flush. "My relationship with Luke is strictly professional. That's not how it looked in the cafeteria yesterday." Matt closed the folder he was consulting and leaned back in his chair, his eyes fixed on hers. "But that's none of my business, is it? As long as it doesn't interfere with your performance." "It won't interfere," Anna replied, more firmly than she intended. A heavy silence settled between them. Anna felt an almost palpable tension in the air, an electricity that had nothing to do with hierarchy or performance reviews. There was something more there, something neither of them dared to name. "May I ask a personal question?" Matt finally said, his voice softer than usual. Anna nodded, apprehensive. "Why did you send that photo to me?" The question caught her completely off guard. "It was an accident," she stammered. "I would never... It wasn't meant for you to see." "I understand." He studied her for a moment. "And what if I told you I don't regret seeing it?" Anna's heart raced. She opened her mouth to reply, but the phone in the room rang, interrupting the moment. Matt answered, his expression quickly returning to professional formality. After a brief conversation, he hung up. "Emergency meeting with the marketing team," he informed. "We'll continue this conversation later." But later never came. In the days that followed, Matt seemed to revert to his distant, professional demeanor, as if that moment of near confession had never existed. Anna wondered if she had imagined everything, if the suggestive tone in his voice was merely a product of her own emotional confusion. And then came the annual Sterling Solutions dinner, held in the elegant ballroom of the Shard Hotel. Anna hadn't planned to attend, but her presence was practically demanded when the regional director himself, Charles Henderson, requested that she represent the department at the main table alongside the company's senior executives. Anna chose a discreet but elegant black dress that accentuated her silhouette without drawing too much attention. When she arrived at the event, however, she noticed all eyes turning to her, including Matt's, who was talking with some investors near the bar. For a brief moment, their gazes met, and Anna felt that same electricity from before course through her body, but she was soon led to the main table, where Charles Henderson was already waiting for her. "Annabelle Louise, you look stunning tonight," the director commented, a middle-aged man known for his charm and his tendency to flirt with younger female employees, despite his 20-year marriage. "You should wear red more often. It suits you." Anna thanked him politely, uncomfortable with the comment. Throughout the dinner, Charles Henderson made a point of serving her personally, including her in conversations with other executives, and lightly touching her arm or back as he spoke. Nothing explicitly inappropriate, but enough to keep her on edge. Across the room, Matt watched the scene with growing agitation. Anna caught him several times looking in her direction, his face tense, his fingers nervously tapping on the table. When dinner ended and the band began to play, Charles Henderson immediately invited her to dance. Anna hesitated, but she knew that refusing could be interpreted as a discourtesy to a superior. She accepted with a polite smile, allowing him to lead her onto the dance floor. Charles was a good dancer, but he held her too close, his hand dangerously low on Anna's back. She tried discreetly to create distance, without success. It was then that she felt a presence behind her. "May I cut in?" Matt's voice sounded firm, almost authoritative. Charles looked displeased, but etiquette obliged him to agree. "Of course, young man. But don't take too long. Annabelle, Louise, and I still have much to discuss tonight." As soon as the director stepped away, Matt took the dance position, maintaining a respectful distance, but holding Anna firmly. "Thank you," she murmured. "It was getting complicated." "I noticed." Matt's voice sounded tense. "Charles has always had a questionable reputation. You should be more careful. He was the one who insisted I sit at the main table. And you can't say no?" The question came out harsher than he intended. Anna stared at him, surprised by the accusatory tone. "He's my superior, 4 levels above me in the hierarchy. What do you suggest I should have done?" Matt didn't answer immediately, guiding her across the dance floor with precise steps. "I don't like the way he looks at you." "It's none of your business," Anna retorted, using the same words he had directed at her days earlier. An ironic smile curved Matt's lips. "Touché." They continued dancing in silence, Anna's body gradually relaxing against Matt's, their movements finding a natural rhythm together. The tension between them began to transform into something else, something warmer, more intimate. "You look beautiful tonight," he finally said, his voice low near her ear. "But I don't like sharing attention with someone who doesn't truly know you." Anna felt a shiver run down her spine. "And do you truly know me, Mr. Allen?" "Not as much as I'd like to," he admitted, his voice trembling slightly. "But I've been thinking about you a lot, Annabelle Louise, more than I should." Before she could reply, the music ended, and the hum of conversations around them brought them back to reality. Matt pulled away, as if suddenly conscious of where they were and who they were. The general manager and his assistant, boss and subordinate. 2 people who shouldn't be dancing so close, much less exchanging confessions in the middle of a corporate party. "I need to go," she said, feeling suddenly vulnerable under his gaze. Matt nodded, regaining his composure. "Of course. Tomorrow we have the trip to Aspen. The company car will pick you up at 7. I'll be ready." Anna quickly walked away, feeling the weight of his gaze on her back as she went to retrieve her bag. That business trip was to finalize an important partnership with a client in Aspen. 2 days away from the office, the city, familiar routines. 2 days in the company of Matthew Allen, with this new tension pulsing between them. She didn't know what to expect, but she was certain of one thing. Nothing would be the same when they returned. The small town of Aspen greeted Anna and Matt with a fine drizzle, typical of that mountainous region. The company car wound its way along the winding roads, as Anna looked out the window, watching the mist dance among the pine trees. The tension inside the vehicle was almost palpable. Since leaving London, they had barely exchanged more than a few professional phrases about the day's agenda. The trip had a clear objective: to close a strategic partnership with the Beaumont Group. a family-owned import company that could open important doors for Sterling Solutions in the international market. Anna had meticulously prepared every document, reviewed every spreadsheet, anticipated every possible question. Professionally, she was ready. Emotionally, it was another story. The image of the dance the previous night wouldn't leave her head. The firm touch of Matt's hands on her waist, the warmth of his body close to hers, his husky voice confessing that he thought of her more than he should. And then, that abrupt separation, as if he had woken from a trance and suddenly remembered who they were, boss and subordinate, with all the complexity that dynamic carried. The St. Michel Hotel, one of the most traditional in the town, stood imposingly against the gray sky when they finally arrived. The Alpine-style building, with its wooden balconies and flowers in the windows, looked like something out of a European postcard. The driver dropped them off at the entrance, promising to pick them up the next day for the meeting with the Beaumonts. Anna adjusted her coat while Matt handled check-in at the reception. She observed him discreetly, always impeccable in his tailored suit, dark hair meticulously styled, a posture that betrayed his years of education in elite schools. So different from her, who had grown up in a simple home in a working-class town in the north of England, the daughter of a mechanic and a seamstress, and who had earned every inch of her current position with immense effort. "We have a problem." Matt's voice brought her back to reality. He had returned from the counter with a tense expression. "What happened?" Anna asked, already imagining some complication with the next day's meeting. "The reservation." Matt ran a hand through his hair, a rare gesture that betrayed his discomfort. Apparently, there was an error. Instead of 2 separate rooms, they only booked one, a double room. Anna felt the blood drain from her face. "What do you mean?" "I've already checked. The hotel is completely booked because of the winter festival. There are no other rooms available until tomorrow." The silence that followed was dense, laden with unspoken implications. Anna quickly weighed her options. Could they try another hotel? But in peak season, it would be almost impossible to find last-minute vacancies. Return to London? The meeting with the Beaumonts was too important to be postponed. "Is there a sofa in the room?" she finally asked, trying to sound practical. Matt shook his head. "It's a luxury suite, but with only one bed. I can sleep on the floor, of course." "Don't be ridiculous." Anna sighed, resigned. "We're adults. The bed should be big enough. We can manage." Something flickered in Matt's eyes. Surprise, satisfaction. But he quickly reverted to his professional expression. "If you're comfortable with that." "I'm not," she admitted truthfully. "But it's the most practical solution right now." The room was indeed luxurious. Spacious, with a stunning view of the mountains, decorated with dark wood furniture and earthy tones. In the center, a king-size 4-poster bed dominated the space. Large enough for 2, yes, but still. 1 bed. Anna left her suitcase near the wardrobe and walked to the window, needing space to process the situation. Outside, the drizzle had intensified, and the fog now completely shrouded the mountains. In a way, that blurry landscape perfectly reflected how she felt, unable to clearly see the contours of what was happening between her and Matt. "I'm going to take a shower before dinner with the Beaumont representatives," Matt announced, breaking the silence. "Feel free to use the room." Anna nodded, still with her back to him, listening to him select clothes, and then the sound of the bathroom door closing. Only then did she allow herself to breathe deeply, trying to calm the turmoil in her chest. What was happening to her? In any other circumstance, she would have already called HR, reported the reservation issue, requested an alternative solution. Why was she now agreeing to share a room and a bed with her immediate boss? The answer, she knew, lay in that dance, in those murmured words, in that tension that had been growing since the photo incident. There was something between them, something that transcended corporate hierarchy, something that was becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. The dinner with the Beaumont representatives proceeded without incident. In a professional setting, Anna and Matt functioned like a well-oiled machine, he presenting the strategic vision for the partnership, she complementing with precise data and detailed analyses. Any external observer would never suspect the discomfort that pulsed beneath the surface of their interactions. When they returned to the hotel close to midnight, the rain had turned into a strong storm. Occasional lightning illuminated the sky, and the wind howled against the windows. The room, warmed by the electric fireplace, offered a cozy refuge from the fury of the elements. Anna took off her high heels, massaging her aching feet. They had dined at a sophisticated restaurant, and she had spent hours on her feet talking and negotiating. She was exhausted, physically and emotionally. "It was a productive meeting," Matt commented, loosening his tie and pouring himself a shot of whiskey from the minibar. He offered a glass to Anna, who accepted with a nod. "You were brilliant, as always." "Thank you." Anna took a small sip, feeling the warmth of the drink spread through her body. "I think we have a good chance of closing the deal tomorrow." "Definitely." Matt sat in the armchair near the window, watching the storm outside. "It's strange, isn't it?" "What?" "How we're perfectly synchronized at work, but when we're like this, just the two of us." Anna sat on the edge of the bed, staring at him. "Like what?" "People, not boss and assistant." There was a moment of silence, filled only by the sound of the rain and the crackle of the artificial fireplace. Anna took a deep breath, gathering her courage. "Why have you never married, Matt?" The question seemed to surprise him. He studied her for an instant, as if evaluating whether the conversation had truly crossed into personal territory. "Who said I've never married?" It was Anna's turn to be surprised. "You're married?" "I was." Matt swirled the amber liquid in his glass. "Divorced 3 years ago. My ex-wife was the CFO of the New York subsidiary. We started a relationship when she was still my direct subordinate." He paused, his gaze lost in memories. "It was a disaster, professionally and personally." Anna absorbed the information in silence, suddenly understanding Matt's resistance, his hesitation, his contradictory behavior better. "What happened?" she finally asked. Matt sighed, running a hand over his face. "What always happens when you mix work and romance? Perceived favoritism, even when none exists. Office gossip, meetings where no one pays attention to the content because everyone is speculating about our personal dynamic." He took a long sip of his drink. "And then, when the relationship started to deteriorate, everything became unbearably public. Every argument, every disagreement, every moment of tension. Everyone knew, everyone commented." "I'm sorry." "And you?" he asked, shifting the focus of the conversation. "Have you never been involved with someone from work?" Anna felt a knot form in her throat. "Once. It didn't end well." She took a deep breath, deciding that if they were sharing truths, she would be completely honest. "My supervisor at my previous job. It started as something casual, at least for me. But when I tried to end it, he didn't take it well. He started sabotaging me, spreading rumors that I had only gotten my promotion because of our involvement." Matt frowned. "That's harassment. Why didn't you report it?" "And who would believe me? The junior assistant against the respected manager, son of the company owner?" Anna gave a bitter smile. "I ended up resigning. I was unemployed for almost 6 months before I got the position at Sterling Solutions." A particularly strong clap of thunder rattled the windows, making Anna jump. Matt stood up, walking over to her. "Is that why you're so reserved? So careful with your professional image?" Anna nodded. I learned the hard way that for a woman, especially one from where I came from, reputation is everything in the corporate world. A single slip-up and years of hard work can be ruined. Matt sat beside her on the bed, close enough that she could feel the warmth of his body, but without touching her. And the photo? Was it really an accident? Anna felt her face flush. Of course it was. I would never purposely send something like that to my boss. A slow smile formed on Matt's lips. What a shame. The comment caught her off guard. Anna stared at him, uncertain if she had understood correctly. Matt's eyes, usually so controlled, now shone with an intensity that made her shiver. "Do you know what's happened to me since I received that photo?" he asked, his voice huskier than usual. "I can't stop thinking about you, Anna. I try to convince myself it's wrong, that I've been through this before and swore never to get involved with someone from work again. But then you show up every morning, perfectly professional, intelligent, dedicated, and I find myself wondering what it would be like to know the woman behind the facade." Anna felt her heart race. "The woman who accidentally sends bikini photos?" Matt chuckled, a low, genuine sound. "The woman who dances as if she forgets everything around her. The woman who stands up to Charles Henderson with more courage than many directors. The woman who came from a working-class town in the north of England and conquered London with pure talent." Anna didn't know how to respond. No one had ever seen her so completely. It was frightening and, at the same time, profoundly liberating. "We're making a mistake, aren't we?" she murmured. "Probably," Matt admitted, his gaze fixed on hers. "The question is it worth it?" Anna's answer didn't come in words. Leaning forward, she closed the distance between them, her lips finding Matt's in a hesitant, testing kiss. He remained motionless for a second during which Anna almost pulled back, certain she had crossed an irrevocable line. And then he responded with an intensity that left her breathless. Matt's hands found her waist, pulling her closer, while hers tangled in his hair, undoing his always impeccable hairstyle. The kiss deepened, years of repressed tension, of denied desires, finding an outlet in that contact. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Matt rested his forehead against hers. "We have to talk about this," he said, his voice trembling. "About what it means. About how we'll deal with it when we go back." "I know," Anna agreed, "but not now." That night, enveloped in the darkness of the room lit only by occasional lightning, Anna allowed herself to simply be a woman desiring. A man, without thinking of the consequences, the complications. Tomorrow. Their bodies met with the same perfect synchronization they demonstrated in the workplace, as if they were made to complement each other. And when dawn finally arrived, filtering through the gaps in the curtains, Anna woke up in Matt's arms, her body warm against his face serene in sleep. For a brief moment, she allowed herself to imagine what it would be like to wake up like this every day, without secrets, without guilt, without the weight of corporate expectations. But then reality set in. In a few hours, they would have the final meeting with the Beaumonts. And then, the return to London, to the office, to their lives separated by hierarchies and protocols. How could they reconcile what had happened in that room with the real world that awaited them? Matt slowly woke, his eyes meeting hers immediately. "Good morning," he murmured, his voice hoarse with sleep. "Good morning," Anna replied, unsure how to act. It was the first time she had seen Matt completely stripped of his layers of formality, disheveled hair, face softened by sleep, vulnerable in a way he never showed in the office. He seemed to notice her hesitation. "Regrets?" Anna considered the question for a moment. "No," she finally replied, surprising herself with her honesty. "But many concerns." Matt nodded, understanding. "I have mine, too. But perhaps we can figure out together how to navigate this. How? Anna sat up in bed, pulling the sheet to cover herself. You're my direct boss, Matt. If anyone finds out, if any insinuation of favoritism arises, we could request a transfer. You could work with Charles Henderson. The same Charles Henderson who couldn't keep his hands off me at dinner. Anna shook her head. Or we could simply not continue this. Matt's expression hardened. Is that what you want? No. The answer came out before she could think. But I want my career more. I've worked too hard to get where I am. I can't risk everything for... She hesitated. For an affair? Matt completed, his voice taking on a cold tone. Is that how you see what happened here? I don't know what to call it, Anna admitted. We barely know each other outside of work. Matt stood up, dressing quickly. You're right. It was a mistake. Let's focus on today's meeting, and when we get back to London, we can pretend this never happened. The coldness in his voice hurt more than Anna expected. She wanted to say that wasn't what she wanted, that there was something real between them, something that deserved a chance. But the words wouldn't come out. The fear of repeating past mistakes, of risking everything she had achieved, was stronger. The meeting with the Beaumonts was an absolute success. The contract was signed, hands were shaken, photos for the annual report were taken. Anna and Matt maintained a facade of impeccable professionalism, with no one able to suspect the night they had shared or the tension that now pulsed between them. The return to London transpired in almost complete silence, each lost in their own thoughts. When the company car finally stopped in front of Anna's building in Islington, Matt limited himself to a formal wave goodbye. See you Monday, Annabelle Louise. See you Monday, Mr. Allen, she replied, deliberately reverting to their previous formality. The weeks that followed were an exercise in self-control. At the office, they maintained a strictly professional relationship, polite, efficient, distant. But Anna noticed the glances Matt cast her, way when he thought she wasn't looking, the subtle change in his voice when they were alone, the care he took to never be in situations that could repeat the intimacy of Aspen. It was Luke, ironically, who catalyzed the change. The young intern, sensing Matt's apparent disinterest, intensified his courtship of Anna. Invitations to lunch, constant messages, small gifts left on her desk, all done openly, without any concern for discretion. Anna maintained a friendly but distant demeanor, making it clear she wasn't interested in anything beyond friendship. Luke, however, was persistent. Just one dinner, Anna, he insisted, one afternoon, leaning over her desk. I know an incredible restaurant in Mayfair. The chef is my cousin. I appreciate the invitation, Luke, but I don't think it's appropriate. Why? We're two single adults. There are no rules against it. I prefer to keep work relationships as work, Anna explained, aware of the half-truth in her words. Luke leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. It's because of Alan, isn't it? I've seen how he looks at you. Anna felt her blood run cold. I don't know what you're talking about. Please, Anna, everyone notices the tension. Between the two of you, it's almost palpable. You're imagining things, she retorted, trying to keep her voice firm. I'm young, not blind. Luke shrugged. I just think you deserve someone who isn't ashamed to admit what they feel. Someone who doesn't need to hide what you two have. The words hit Anna like a punch. Was this what she and Matt were doing? Hiding something real out of fear, out of convention, out of protection of a professional image? What were their careers worth if the price was denying something that could be significant? That night, alone in her apartment, Anna made a decision. She picked up her phone and, for the first time since the original incident that had triggered everything, sent a personal message to Matt. We need to talk, for real this time. The reply came almost instantly. My apartment, 8 p.m., I'll send the address. When Anna arrived at the elegant building in Chelsea, her heart was pounding so hard she thought it could be heard by the doorman who announced her. In the elevator, she almost lost her courage and pressed the ground floor button again. But something propelled her, perhaps the same. Courage that had brought her from a working-class town in the north of England to London years ago, determined to build a life different from what her parents had known. Matt opened the door before Anna even touched the doorbell. He was wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt, a version of him she had never seen at the office. His apartment was exactly as she imagined. Spacious, with minimalist decor in neutral tones, large windows revealing the illuminated city outside. The living room was dominated by a bookshelf filled with books, with a few personal objects strategically placed. A photo with what appeared to be his family, a small sailing trophy, some colorful stones that looked like travel souvenirs. "Come in," he said, stepping aside to let her pass. "Would you like something to drink?" "Water, please," Anna replied, suddenly conscious that she needed to keep a clear head for the conversation she was about to have. While Matt went to the kitchen, Anna observed the space in more detail. Despite the evident luxury, there was something impersonal about the environment, as if it were more a decor showroom than a truly lived-in home. No clutter, no signs of everyday life. Everything perfectly tidy, controlled, just like Matt himself in the workplace. He returned with 2 glasses of water, offering one to Anna before indicating the sofa. They sat down, maintaining a respectful distance from each other. "You wanted to talk," he began, his tone neutral, impossible to read. Anna took a deep breath. "Yes, about us. About what happened in Aspen and how we've been acting since then. I thought we had agreed to forget." "You agreed. I just didn't know what to say." Matt studied her for a moment, his eyes searching for something in her face. "And now you know?" Anna shifted on the sofa, gathering courage. "I'm scared, Matt. Scared of risking everything I've built, scared of repeating past mistakes, scared of becoming the woman who slept with the boss again instead of the competent professional I am." "I understand that better than anyone," he said, his voice softening. "I've been through the same fears. Still am. But today, someone said something to me that made me think about hiding what we feel out of fear or shame." She paused, searching for the right words. "And I realized that perhaps we're letting past experiences prevent us from exploring something that could be good. Something real." Matt placed his glass on the coffee table, leaning slightly towards Anna. "And what do you think we have? What's real between us?" "I don't know exactly," she admitted. "But I know I've never felt this way with anyone. This connection, this synchronization, as if we've known each other much longer than we actually have." A small smile curved Matt's lips. "I feel that too. Since day one, actually. Well before the photo." Anna raised her eyebrows, surprised. "Seriously? Why do you think I specifically requested you to be my assistant when I arrived from New York? I had observed your work during my previous visit. Your intelligence, your efficiency, your spark. Something about you immediately caught my attention." "You never mentioned that." "Because it would have been completely inappropriate," he replied with a half-smile. "And then, when we finally started working together, I realized the attraction wasn't just professional. But after the disaster of my previous marriage, well, I swore to myself I'd never mix work and personal life again. And then I received that damn photo," Anna completed, unable to suppress a smile. "And then I received that blessed photo," Matt corrected, his eyes sparkling. "It was as if the universe was determined to test me." The atmosphere between them had changed, the previous tension giving way to something lighter, more intimate. Anna felt herself relaxing for the first time in weeks. "So what do we do now?" she asked. "Because reality remains the same. You're still my direct boss." Matt hesitated before replying, as if carefully weighing his words. I've been thinking about this. There are a few possibilities. I could request your transfer to another department, but it's not ideal, Anna completed. I love my current job, the team we've formed. Exactly. Matt ran a hand through his hair, a gesture Anna now recognized as a sign of his vulnerability. Another option would be to formalize our relationship with HR. The company has policies for couples, provided they are properly declared. That would mean making everything public. Yes, and we would come under scrutiny. There would be additional performance reviews for you by other managers to ensure there's no favoritism. It wouldn't be easy. Anna considered the option. Part of her recoiled at the idea of exposing herself like that, of seeing her personal relationship debated in corporate hallways. But another part, a braver, truer part, knew that hiding wasn't the answer. What if it wasn't just about us? She suggested, an idea beginning to form in her mind. What if we could turn this into something bigger, something that helped other people in the company? Matt tilted his head, intrigued. How so? Sterling Solutions' policies for workplace relationships are outdated, you said so yourself. And we know we're not the only couple dealing with these issues in silence. What if we proposed a revision of these policies? Something more modern, more transparent, that protects both the company and the employees? Matt's eyes lit up with understanding. A policy that recognizes the reality that people fall in love, regardless of the organizational chart. Exactly. With clear protocols, independent evaluations, no secrets or subterfuge. Anna grew more excited as she developed the idea. We could work with HR, perhaps form a committee with representatives from different hierarchical levels. And we would be the pilot case study, Matt concluded, a genuine smile spreading across his face. That's brilliant, Anna. To transform our personal situation into an opportunity for improvement, for the entire company. It would be difficult at first, she admitted. There would be gossip, stares, questions. Undoubtedly. But we would be facing it together, head held high. No secrets. Matt reached out, gently touching Anna's face. The question is, are we ready to take this step? To admit that this isn't just a fleeting attraction or a one-night stand, but something worth fighting for? Anna felt her heart race. It was the question she had been asking herself since Aspen. Was it worth risking everything, her hard-built reputation, her professional security, for this man she had, known for such a short time? I'm scared, she admitted, her voice almost a whisper. But I'm also scared of not trying and regretting it forever. Matt drew closer, wrapping her in his arms. I'm scared too, he confessed against her hair. But I discovered something important in these weeks, trying to forget you. I can't. You're in every thought, every moment of my day. And that's not something I can just let go of. That night, no more words were needed. Their bodies communicated what their minds were still processing, that there was something rare, something precious, between them, something that deserved a chance, despite the risks. The next morning, having coffee in Matt's small, minimalist kitchen, they began to outline a plan. They would wait until the end of the quarter, when performance reviews were completed, to formalize their relationship with HR. In the meantime, they would maintain discretion in the workplace without lying, but also without making displays that could compromise the professional seriousness of both. We need to talk to Sylvia Reynolds from Human Resources before anything else, Matt said, referring to the HR director, known for her progressive approach. She can guide us out on the best way to conduct the process. And we need to prepare for my transfer to another manager, Anna added, even if temporarily, until the new policy is implemented. Matt nodded, though Anna could see the reluctance in his eyes. They functioned so well as a team that it would be a loss for both of them. but it was the price to pay for the chance to build something deeper, more lasting. The following weeks were an exercise in patience and self-control. At the office, they maintained impeccable professional distance, though to attentive eyes like Luke's, the subtle shift in their dynamic was perceptible. On weekends and some evenings, they allowed themselves to explore this new personal territory. Dinners, outings, conversations that stretched late into the night, discovering layers of each other that the corporate environment would never reveal. Anna met Matt's parents, Edward and Helen Allen, imposing figures from the London elite, owners of a renowned construction company. The reception was polite, but cold, especially when Matt mentioned that Anna was his colleague. The glances exchanged between his parents were eloquent. Clearly, they hadn't forgotten the disaster of his previous marriage to a subordinate. "They'll get used to it," Matt assured her later as they returned home. "They just need time to truly get to know you, to see what I see." Anna smiled, squeezing his hand, but couldn't entirely shake off the insecurity. Matt's world, with his homes in Belgravia, his dinners at Michelin-starred restaurants, his conversations sprinkled with references to international travel and powerful connections, was so far removed from everything she knew. In contrast, when Matt visited the small apartment Anna shared with her cousin in Brixton, he seemed genuinely charmed by the cozy simplicity of the place. With family photos scattered on the walls, with the modest but well-maintained furniture. He talked for hours with Julia, Anna's cousin, about the small bakery she dreamed of opening one day, showing a sincere interest that surprised both of them. "You're different than I imagined," Julia commented later when they were alone. "I thought he'd be one of those arrogant executives who treat people like stepping stones." "He surprises me every day," Anna admitted, an involuntary smile appearing on her lips. Finally, after almost 2 months of discreet relationship, the moment they had planned arrived. Quarterly reviews had been completed, with Anna receiving exemplary marks, as always, and it was time to formalize the situation with HR. The meeting with Sylvia Reynolds, the Human Resources Director, was both tense and liberating. The middle-aged executive listened attentively as Matt and Anna explained their situation and their ideas for updating the company's policies. "You two are not the first couple to form at Sterling Solutions, nor will you be the last," Sylvia commented after hearing the whole story. "What impresses me is the maturity with which you are approaching the situation. Most try to hide it until it's impossible, which always ends in gossip and embarrassment. We want to do this the right way," Anna explained. "For us and for the company." Sylvia nodded thoughtfully. "Your proposal for reviewing the policies is interesting. In fact, it's something I've been trying to implement for some time, but I always encounter resistance from the more traditional board members." She looked at Matt. "Having someone at your hierarchical level supporting the initiative can make all the difference." "So you'll help us?" he asked. "Yes, but we need to follow the current protocol first. Anna will need to be temporarily reallocated to another supervisor. I'm thinking of Marina Collins from the marketing department. She'll need someone with your skills for the launch of the new institutional campaign." Anna felt a squeeze in her chest. Marina had a reputation for being demanding and, at times, difficult to please. But it was the price to pay for what truly mattered. "And what about the announcement?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "It will be discreet," Sylvia assured. "A standard announcement about your transfer to marketing without mentioning personal reasons. The rest? Well, people will inevitably comment when they see you together outside of work, but at least it will have been done the right way." When they left Sylvia's office, Anna felt as if a huge weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Matt seemed equally relieved, though there was a shadow of sadness in his eyes when he mentioned they would no longer work directly together. "It's going to be strange not having you organize my schedule, filter my emails, complete my sentences in meetings," he admitted. It's going to be strange not having you interrupt me every 5 minutes with new urgent requests, she joked in response, though she felt the same, anticipated nostalgia. The transfer to the marketing department happened the following week. As Sylvia had predicted, rumors began almost immediately. Anna noticed the glances, the whispers that ceased when she approached, the indirect questions from curious colleagues. Matt faced a similar situation, though his hierarchical position afforded him some protection against direct questioning. Working with Marina was challenging, as Anna expected. The marketing director had sky-high expectations and a management style completely different from Matt's. More emotional, less structured, with deadlines that constantly shifted and priorities that changed without warning. But she was also incredibly creative and generous with her knowledge, offering Anna insights into areas of the company she would never have accessed otherwise. "So it's true," Marina commented one day, as they reviewed material for the new campaign together. "You and Matt." Anna hesitated for a moment, unsure how to respond, but opted for honesty. "Yes, it's true." Marina studied her for a moment, her intelligent eyes evaluating something Anna couldn't identify. "He seems different, more human." "How so?" "Matt has always been brilliant, don't get me wrong, an exceptional strategist, but always so controlled, so closed off. Since you came along, he smiles more, he participates more in coffee break conversations. He even agreed to go to the team happy hour last week, something he never did before." Anna couldn't suppress a smile. It was true. Matt was changing, opening up, allowing himself to be seen beyond the role of the impeccable executive. And she was changing too, gaining confidence, losing the fear of taking up space, of expressing opinions, of being noticed. The project for the new workplace relationship policy advanced slowly. Sylvia had formed a committee with representatives from different departments and hierarchical levels, including Anna, and the discussions were intense, sometimes heated. There was resistance, especially from more traditional board members, but also surprising support from areas Anna hadn't expected. "It's a matter of adapting to contemporary reality," Charles Henderson argued during one of the meetings, surprising everyone with his support for the initiative. "We can't keep pretending that people don't develop feelings just because they're in the workplace." Anna suspected that Charles's support had more to do with his own inclinations for office relationships than with a sudden progressive awareness, but she accepted any help to advance the project. At home, for Anna now practically lived in Matt's apartment in Chelsea. They tried not to let work tensions dominate their conversations, though it wasn't always possible. The pressure was real, and there were days when Anna wondered if they had made the right decision by making everything public. "I heard someone say I was only transferred to marketing because we're together," she confided one evening, curled up on the sofa after a particularly difficult day. As if the transfer was a disguised promotion and not a forced separation to avoid conflicts of interest. Matt sighed, pulling her closer. "There will always be people who think the worst. But you know what matters? That we're doing everything openly. No lies, no subterfuge. Those who truly matter know the truth." He was right, of course, and as the weeks passed, the comments gradually subsided, replaced by tacit acceptance. Anna and Matt were no longer a novelty, just another couple among others who formed and disbanded in the natural dynamic of a large company. 3 months after Anna's transfer, the new relationship policy was finally approved by the board of directors. More modern, more transparent, it established clear protocols for couples in the workplace, with protection mechanisms for both the company and the employees involved. Anna couldn't help but feel immense pride at having been part of this change. "We did it," she whispered to Matt during the official announcement, their hands discreetly intertwined beneath the table. He squeezed her hand gently in response, his eyes shining with something that went beyond professional satisfaction, something Anna was beginning to recognize as love. That night, after a small celebration with the team who had worked on the new policy, Matt surprised her by suggesting a detour on their usual way home. "I want to show you a place," he said, mysteriously. The car wound through the streets of London until it reached an elegant restaurant at the top of one of the tallest skyscrapers overlooking the city skyline. The view was breathtaking. The entire city stretched out below them, a pulsating sea of lights against the night sky. "It's beautiful," Anna murmured, enchanted. "It was here that I realized I was in love with you," Matt revealed, leading her to a reserved table by the window. "I came here for dinner alone after we returned from Aspen, trying to convince myself that we should keep our distance. I looked at this view, at this city that had always represented ambition, success, achievement to me, and I realized that none of it made sense without you by my side." Anna felt emotion form a knot in her throat. "Matt, wait, let me finish." He took a deep breath as if gathering courage. "These last few months haven't been easy. We've faced rumors, prejudice, separation at work, resistance from my family, your own insecurities. But every day, with every obstacle overcome, I'm more certain. I want to build a life with you, Annabelle Louise." To her surprise, Matt stood up and right there, in the middle of the crowded restaurant, knelt before her. From his pocket, he took out a small velvet box. "I don't have an envelope with your bikini photo to give you," he joked, eliciting a nervous laugh from Anna. "But I have this, and I hope it's enough." When he opened the box, revealing a delicate engagement ring with a single diamond surrounded by small emeralds, Anna felt the world spin around her. It was real as the man kneeling before her, looking at her with a vulnerability he would never show to anyone else. "Annabelle Louise Miller, will you be my permanent attachment? In life, at work, in everything." The tears Anna had been trying to hold back finally escaped. "Yes," she whispered, and then louder, "Yes, I accept." The entire restaurant erupted in applause as Matt slid the ring onto her finger and stood up to kiss her. For a moment of panic, Anna wondered if there would be any colleagues there witnessing that scene. But then she realized she didn't care anymore. There was nothing left to hide, nothing to fear. 6 months later, they married in an intimate ceremony at a charming winery in the Kent countryside. Julia, Anna's cousin, was her maid of honor. To everyone's surprise, Marina, the marketing director, was also present, having become a close friend of Anna's during her time in the department. Matt's parents attended, still reserved but visibly more receptive after getting to know Anna and her story of determination better. And when Anna's parents, from the working-class town in the north of England, nervously entered the elegant winery space, it was Matt who greeted them personally, making sure to introduce them to everyone with genuine pride. Sterling Solutions was well represented, with colleagues from all departments celebrating the union that, in a way, had catalyzed an important change in the company's culture. Sylvia Reynolds, the HR director, toasted to the pioneers of a new era of transparency and humanity in workplace relationships. Luke, the intern who had inadvertently helped bring them closer, now confirmed as a financial analyst, made sure to remind everyone how he had noticed the chemistry between them before anyone else. After the ceremony, during the reception, Anna found a moment to be alone, watching the sunset paint the surrounding vineyards golden. Matt found her there, wrapping his arms around, her waist from behind. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, resting his chin on her shoulder. "How unpredictable life is," she replied, smiling. "How one wrong click on a phone can change everything." Matt chuckled softly. "I still keep that photo, you know." Anna turned to face him, feigning indignation. "Matthew Allen, after everything we went through to create policies for appropriate workplace behavior? What can I say? It's a precious reminder of the moment that changed my life. He kissed her gently. Besides, you're my wife now. I'm authorized to keep your photos. Anna shook her head, laughing. I guess that's true. But wait until you see the honeymoon photos. Matt's eyes widened at the implicit promise, and he pulled her closer. I have a better idea. What if, instead of photos, we created memories that no camera could capture? I like that idea, Anna murmured against his lips. The sun was setting on the horizon, casting its golden light over the couple, a perfect symbol of the end of one phase and the beginning of another, even brighter one. Anna thought of all the obstacles they had overcome, the doubts, the fears, the social and professional, conventions that had almost prevented them from getting there. What if the mistake of sending that photo had never happened? What if they had given in to fear after Aspen? What if they had chosen the easier, safer, more conventional path? But there was no room for what-ifs in her heart now. Only gratitude for the mistake that turned out to be right, for the vulnerability that transformed into strength, for the risk that resulted in the greatest reward of all. To love and be loved, truly, completely, without reservations or regrets. As they walked back hand in hand to the party where friends and family awaited them, Anna felt a deep certainty settle in her chest. No matter what challenges the future held, and there would certainly be many, they would face them together, with the same courage and honesty that had brought them there. In the end, perhaps it hadn't been a mistake. Perhaps it had been the universe conspiring, life creating unexpected detours on the path to lead them exactly where they were meant to be. A love born from a digital slip-up, cultivated in secret, tested by social conventions, and finally celebrated in plain sight, without masks, without fear, with the promise of a shared future that neither of them could have imagined on that fateful day when a distracted tap on a phone changed everything. And as the night wore on and the party continued around them, Anna and Matt danced, their bodies in perfect synchronicity, just like their souls. Two seemingly incompatible worlds that discovered, in fact, they were complementary. Two people who found in each other not just passion or companionship, but something much rarer and more precious, the freedom to be exactly who they were, without masks or pretenses, and still be loved completely. Thank you for sending that photo, Matt whispered in her ear as they twirled to the music. Anna laughed, resting her head on his shoulder. Thank you for keeping it. And in that simple moment, in that exchange of gratitude for a mistake that turned out to be the greatest ride of their lives, lay the entire story of their love, unexpected, inconvenient, challenging, and absolutely perfect in its imperfection. The moon shone high in the sky when they finally left the party, ready to begin the next phase of their journey. Anna looked at the ring on her finger, now accompanied by her wedding band, and then at the man beside her, her boss, her lover, her husband, her life partner. Ready to go home? He asked, his eyes reflecting all the promises of the future that awaited them. Anna smiled, squeezing his hand. With you? Always. And as the car drove away down the road, lit only by headlights and moonlight, Anna thought that some stories begin in the most unexpected way possible, with a slip, a mistake, a moment of distraction. But what mattered wasn't how they began, but how they continued, how they grew, how they transformed into something bigger and more beautiful than anyone could foresee. Their future was as open as the road ahead, full of possibilities, challenges, and promises, and she could barely wait to live it, one day at a time, beside the man who had captured her heart with a simple, wrong message, words that, ironically, had led them both exactly where they were meant to be.